Peace, peace, peace. QI critical thinking is in the building, family. Again, peace and Black Indian power. All right. So today, family, I got some very informative information that will change your life. I am here. This channel is here to bring you information that you can use to make your life better. Um, once you understand what what we've gone through, once you understand what has occurred, once you understand history, then you know how to not make history repeat itself again, and you know how to change your circumstances or situations for the better. um, Once you understand what completely happened, you have to always get to the root of the issue. And so, pretty much, my purpose here on this channel is to help us to get to the root of our issues so that, we can become more productive. And let me just take a few minutes. Hey, oh no, Sister Love up in the building. Oh no is in the building. For anyone out there that likes informative news on this sector, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to our sister Oh No. She's commented in the comment section. She has very great commentary on a variety of different topics. She's a very intelligent young lady, and she's very upright and forthcoming. As content creators come, because I believe in supporting all content creators, especially the small ones, the smaller content creators, to help them build. I believe in working as a team. I believe there's enough room for all of us. So, let's make sure that, we support each other. There's no such thing as too many content creators, especially if we're original content creators. Okay. And y'all, thanks for y'all patience. I know I promised to go live about 2 days ago, but I'm going to be honest, Mercury retrograde is definitely kicking in with me. And let me just explain real quickly what Metro retrograde is, and what time it is right now for those who don't know. This Metro retrograde is it's a reflection time. So, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to, surface in front of your face, a lot of things that you need to heal, make better, be aware of. And so it's a good time. It's a time of reflection. So basically, you should make sure you take that time. Just the same purpose of this live stream. If you don't know, like if you don't understand what has happened, if you don't understand what makes you tick, what makes you do the things that you do, whether negative or positive, then you won't know how to become better. So basically, that's what this Metro retrograde is about. It's about reflection and like healing, or being aware of like the things that we need to make better or change. I'm all about growth and expansion. All right. So today, as you see the title, and some of you may not be aware of the 1954 movie, How to Sell a Negro, in which I'm going to display like the most important part of the clip here today. But before I do, I want you to understand what you're looking at, and I want you to understand the significance of what this old documentary really meant, and how it has sort of programmed our lives. Um, what if I told you that we were puppets and that our strings are being pulled? And, as our strings are being pulled, we engage in certain behaviors. It has a lot to do with our behaviors. We are, a lot of the things that, we are taught, and the things that we program in our subconscious mind from the age of, especially from the age of, 1 up into age 18. The reason that we act certain ways, the reason that we do certain things is because of our subconscious programming. And what the subconscious mind is, see, our analytical mind is the mind that I'm using right now to speak. That's the mind that's right now in the here and now. Our subconscious mind comes from our memory, our experiences, and things that has happened to us in the past. And we're not really familiar with our subconscious mind, and we're not really familiar with our subconscious thoughts. Like a lot of times we don't know that it's our subconscious thoughts that hinder us from doing things that we should or shouldn't do. It's things that has happened to us in the past. It's our programming, and our subconscious mind acts as though a storage unit for our experiences. And so every time we turn on a television set, every time we come to YouTube and you see the ads that display, before we go live when you're monetized. Every time you go, like if you pull up Google or different pages on Google, y'all notice the suggestive ads and things of that nature. And those ads, like what they're doing now is they record like the pages you go to. They record your brain. They record your interest. So you get personalized ads when you go on Google. You get personalized ads. If you want to know what YouTube or Google thinks about you, look at the type of ads that they place on your page. On your page, they're tracking. They track our Google, and they track our internet or our online habits. What we're looking at, what we're looking for. Okay, so therefore they know what it is that we're interested in, and they know like basically how to suggestively sell to us. And companies spend billions of dollars, and this is how most content creators get paid. They get content creators on here get paid to run ads on their videos for suggestive selling purposes. Now, you should be able to see that it's very significant if companies are spending billions of dollars to do this. Like Google gets paid billions of dollars by different companies, and out of those billions of dollars that Google gets paid, they break off a few pennies for us content creators. Okay, so it should make you, that should make you say, and people rely on things. We rely on things. We rely on material things, experiences, and different things like that to bring about certain emotions and feelings. So once again, let me repeat that or break that down a little bit. Like comfort eating, for instance. People like that, people that comfort eat, they're eating for the experience. Like a lot of people, they don't eat for nutrients. They eat, for the comfort, the experience, whether it's good or bad. I love ice cream, so I'm going to eat some ice cream because they get a euphoria from eating ice cream. A happy feeling from eating ice cream. People, like a lot of times, going to clubs and different things like that. We go a lot of times because we need that socialization, and it's for the experience. We do certain things to bring out certain feelings and emotions for ourselves. We buy certain things to bring out certain emotions and certain feelings for ourselves. We dress certain ways to bring out certain feelings and certain emotions for ourselves. And basically, you can become addicted. And this is why, like a lot of people become addicted to comfort eating, and addicted to buying, and addicted to, things like, sex, even sex, because of the feeling that those experiences produce. So what separates the programming from your subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that is the mind that the thinking mind, the critical mind, the thoughtful mind. So, in order like to not be so quick to um be sold, emotional, to be emotionally sold, or to be an emotional giver. A lot of times what you need to do is you need to analyze or think before you actually create the act. Because that feeling, just like people, they make you feel sympathetic towards them, and you give, or like a product or something makes you feel good, or creates of this sense that it's going to express or do a certain thing, and therefore you will buy it. So like before you become, before you buy or before you actually do those things, you should critically think, and make sure that this is the right thing to do. You should ask yourself, why am I purchasing this? If I really need to purchase this, or you should ask yourself, should I really act this way, or should I really do this? Why am I doing that? Always question why. And this will keep you from being, programmed, or this will keep you from doing things out of like spontaneously, or out of just quick responses, reflexes, or reaction, quick reaction. So once we understand the psychology, we understand how to deprogram and how to not be programmed, and how to basically behave as our natural selves. And we haven't been our natural selves for a long time. We are giving in to a lot. We've gotten away from our culture and different things, and a lot of this has to do with what we've been programmed. Like I often said, why did they show us the movie Roots, a traumatizing Roots movie at such a young age, and we all had to look at that at school. you know so today I'm going to go over a few things to show you like what society, or what America, the colonizers of America, has actually like done to us. And I'm also going to share some tips on how to basically start deprogramming yourself. So I'm going to share screen here. So give me just a moment. And like I said, this is news that this is something that you can use to not, to better yourself, to better yourself in terms of, if you want to build a business, to better yourself in terms of if you want to heal, if you want to feel better about yourself, if you want to be free, if you want to make better choices in life. These are things that will actually be able to, help you to understand your human mind. In school, they teach us a lot about, they program us. So this is why a lot of people, they buy things and do things and stuff like that to look for happiness. But those things are only temporary. And that's pretty much what has happened to us in society. We no longer know who we are and how to find our true happiness, because we're being programmed, suggested. So this is titled the 1954 a documentary was released titled The Secret of Selling to the Negro. And we're going to play the clip, so y'all stay tuned. Of course, today, this documentary would be considered extremely racist and derogatory, but in the white-dominated era of 1950, it was politically correct and even had support from some Black people in America, as can be seen by participants shown in the film that we're going to see here today. In a 1954 film financed by Black-owned Johnson Publishing Company, the publisher of Ebony and Jet magazine, to encourage advertisers to promote their products and services in the African American media. The film showed African Americans, American professionals, housewives, and students as participants in the American consumer society, and it emphasized the economic power of this demographic community. The film featured appearances by Sinclair Weeks, Secretary of the U.S. Department of Commerce, and radio announcer Robert Trout. The film had its premiere in July 1954 at the Johnson Slits Brewing Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and was shown on a non-theatrical basis. Here is a short clip from the 21-minute documentary. If you want to see the full documentary, just stroll further below. Okay, so I'm about to show this clip. Okay, Wikipedia said The Secret of Selling the Negro Market is a 1954 film financed by Johnson Publishing Company, that was an all-Black company, and the publisher of Ebony magazine, to encourage advertisers to promote their products and services in the African American media. If you could bear to watch that all the way through and want to see more, here you go. Okay, fair use. Fair use. This video is for fair use and educational purposes. So bear with me, family. Here we go.
We'll move that over there. Light it. You can light it. You got the level on that, Joe?
Hey, how's this video coming through?
All right, the light's hot enough.
Don't forget to dial in close.
All right, return, stay clear, #2 camera, and all set. Stand by.
Okay, now this part right here is showing you the guy that I just mentioned, Robert Trout, and I have to stop this for fair use purposes. Setting up for the film. Okay, for the filming. They used all white cast, all white commentators like Robert Trout and the lady from the U.S. Department of Secretary to do so. And let me just bear with me just a moment, family, because that's not the one I really want to show you, because that's going to be a little bit too long. So yeah, just bear with me a moment. Let me stop sharing screen. I'm going to show you a shorter version of that. My fault. I sent the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Fair use. This video is for fair use and educational purposes. And give me just a moment. Let me make sure our sound is up because it's old.
Per capita, they buy more.
Okay, here we go. Whoa. Uh-oh. My fault. I forgot about something. Hold on. I forgot the screen share, huh? All right, here we go.
Per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone else in the country. And their children are better educated, too, because since 1930, enrollment in Negro colleges is up 2,500%. But really, to recognize the importance of this class Negro market, we must realize that something has been happening economically in our country. People are on the move. The population is shifting. The makeup of metropolitan populations today is different than it was just a few short years ago. To give you a better idea of what we mean, we set up several cameras, candid cameras, in a number of shopping locations. Take a look.
Okay, and what he is saying is that especially around the 1930s, a lot of people migrated. Like a lot of the people who are in Chicago are really from the South, primarily from the state of Mississippi. That's why when you go to Chicago, you're going to find that more of them going to say that they have family in Mississippi. And, most Mississippians are going to say that they have family in Chicago, because when they built a lot of these factories and different things of that nature, a lot of people from the South, they moved to the cities and different things of that nature to be able to get these factory jobs and things, factory jobs. So there was a migrational pattern. So there was a lot of people, and this was at the beginning of integration. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, that he integrated us into a burning hell, because, before then, Black people owned their own laundromats, their own grocery stores, their own businesses. And we also had our own bank, okay, in which they still owe us money right now, behind our own bank. Behind our bank, they closed it down and they kept the funding, and we had the richest bank in America. Okay, we back then, before integration, Black people were rich. We were well off. We were doing our own things because we've been here. We're American Indians, so we own the tobacco industry. We own the cotton industry was ours. Everything that they taught us like that was a form of slavery. That was actually like our businesses. In fact, when you see a lot of the pictures and stuff where it looks as though we were in slavery, no, that was us, like because we were tribal. That was us, doing our own, collectively managing our own business. So, and I want to get back to the movie, back to the clip. I just wanted you guys to have an idea of what time frame it was. Now, this was 1954, but the migration happened around 1930. And that was like also the Great Depression. So this is going to tell you like somewhat the state of mind. This was after like a lot of the civil wars and different things where, reconstruction period where, we were trying to rebuild. So this is going to tell you a lot about like what was going on during that time. And, they're still using the same tricks, even though it's a different day. And the reason why the same tricks are still working on us is primarily because we're not aware of what has happened. We're not truly aware of American history. We're not truly aware of like how they psychologically programmed us. But here we go.
Look at these shoppers. Notice what a large proportion of them are Negro. What's the reason? It's simply this. Negro families are moving into the cities where there are more job opportunities. Here they find occupations with more prestige and security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of central city consumer prospects. A shoe store in Chicago's Loop, for example, reports that more than 50% of its customers are Negroes. In another case, a drugstore located at a transfer point in a non-Negro neighborhood finds that its Negro customers total 25%. The trend is plain. The new Negro families today are moving into more populated areas, to the cities, where there are more stores, more buying opportunities. Since 1940, in San Francisco alone, the Negro market has increased by 89%. In Chicago, by 81%. Houston, Texas, 45%.
And I'm going to stop right there for commentary and fair use purposes primarily. But I wanted to pause right there as well to show you when you're looking at these cities that they're speaking of. Chicago, like I said, they're saying that the shoe store was in Chicago. You see 81%. When you see Philadelphia, that's an like Chicago's majority black, 81% there. Philadelphia, majority black, 51% there. Houston, Texas, majority black, and now like it has a lot of Latino people there, 45%. But this was in 1954, before a lot of Latinos started to migrate here for integrate, migrate here. Okay. And San Francisco, 89%, which is primarily the demographics has changed in Houston, and the demographics has of course changed in San Francisco because you have more Latino, and because of like, companies like companies like Google, companies like YouTube being in the California area, the demographics, of course, has changed. You have like a lot. It's more diverse. So I just wanted to stop for a minute so that you could see that as well. But here we go again, and I might play. I'm going to commentate through this, and then I think I'm going to play it over again so that like all the things I'm pouring out, you can see for yourself. Exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you pay attention to this movie, to this clip, it's saying a whole lot of things without saying a whole lot of things. And it has a lot to do with why we are the way that we are right now here today. But here we go.
Philadelphia, 50%. The impact of this new buying
TV in the building.
So tremendous that actually
Peace,
in 14
fam.
major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support.
Did y'all hear that? A product cannot be number one without Negro support. So what that is saying, so let's just look at it. The real reason why why integration occurred was not because they thought that it was unjust or anything of that nature. It's because they realized that we had we're the majority. They tell us we're the minority. They tell us that we're the minority. And it's like programming and brainwash, because when you think you're small, when you think that you're small, then you act small. You think you don't have any power. But when you realize that politics run on the majority rules, and then when you realize the voting power, everything runs on the majority rule. So when it's for the people. America is of the people, for the people. So when you realize that we're the majority, you will realize how much power that we have. So that's why they call us a minority, although our numbers state that we're the majority, because the legal term of minority is those who cannot govern themselves. And I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about how we have always had the ability to govern ourselves. And this is another reason why they changed our terminology from Negro. As you can see here, 1954, we were Negro. Here today, after 1998, because of Jesse Jackson, we're now called African Americans. But I don't go by that term, because I know, my roots, and I know that I'm not Kuta Kinte. Okay, that's a quote from Dr. Khalid Muhammad. But as you can see, New York, predominantly Black people, especially back then with the Harlem Renaissance and things of that nature. Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., all of these places are still predominantly Black. New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and these are also high crime areas. Once again, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Detroit, New Orleans, Memphis, Birmingham, St. Louis, Atlanta, Houston, Cleveland, and Los Angeles. All predominantly Black locations. Okay. And like they said, a company cannot be number one. A company back then could not be successful without, the Negro buyer. So here we go.
A product must have the backing of this big new buying power to be a leader in the field. What do you have to sell? Chewing gum or cars?
Chewing gum or cars?
Or transportation?
Toothpaste or transportation?
Whatever it is, here are millions of prospects. And these prospects are everywhere. Negro customers can no longer be pigeonholed. They cannot be classified as prospects who trade only in certain stores, certain neighborhoods. Today, Negroes shop downtown. They shop in supermarkets. They shop in small neighborhood stores. They'll buy from anyone who wants to sell to them. But we all know that before you can sell to customers, you've got to get to know them. You must understand something about them. What do the Negro customers buy? Why do they buy? How do you sell to them? Let's find out. Let's hear the opinion of men who have spent a lifetime studying the buying habits of customers the world over. Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated.
Boom. Did you hear that? Let me just rewind that just a little bit for you. Why do we buy? Remember I said, in order to know like how we're being programmed, you have to, and when you're being programmed and how you're spontaneously buying and spontaneously behaving in certain patterns, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Why am I buying this hat? Why am I buying this expensive car when, like this expensive car, when I could buy a used car and I won't be under any stress? Why am why do I have a need to do this? Why do I have a need to comfort eat? Why am I addicted to YouTube? Ask yourself why. What is it emotionally? Like I said earlier, a lot of times it's for emotional reasons. Companies have and just like they just said a minute ago, they are still studying us. They are studying us down to our genetics. down to like, because like a lot of people, they love to give up their DNA, doing DNA tests and all of that kind of stuff, and you don't realize that these people are getting your once they study and broke down your DNA, they know like what things affect you chemically. They know like what things we're not supposed to eat. They know a lot of different things about us. So we have been studied, and we're still being studied. And a lot of the things that we're doing right now, a lot of the behavior and stuff that that we have, is not of our culture. It's not of our original culture. We're not of our original natural self. In fact, we have been taught self-hatred. Just like you find, you speak with ebonics. Well, the reason we speak with ebonics is because English is not our natural indigenous tongue. Our mother language and our tongue is like is formulated to speak within our indigenous tongues. And this is one reason why, like, we have complications speaking proper English, as they say. Okay, we speak with more rhythm. And the English language does not have, the rhythm that, we're used to speaking with. Just like our names, all your names are, ghetto or whatever. Well, no, they're not ghetto. That's teaching self-hate. That's teaching you not to like your culture. That's teaching you that your culture is belittled. Our names are not ghetto. A lot of times our names are like from our if you break down the syllables and different things of the name Shaquita. Shaquita would be an indigenous name. A lot of a lot of that came from our within our DNA and from our indigenousness. That's not coincidental. That's within our DNA, and that's coming from our ancestors. So they have, like, this is telling you how they taught us over the years self-hatred. They're teaching us over the years that our culture and our natural selves is ghetto, is poor, is hood, is like beneath non-human, is non what is the word? I can't think of all the terms that they've called us. um it's one term, I'll think of it in a minute. Not colonized, I'll think of it in a minute. It's one term in particular that I wanted to use, and I can't think of the term right now. I'm having a brain fart. But that's why they put these ebonics. That's why they put all of these negative connotations on things that are naturally us, and we don't realize that what it's really doing is programming us from to not to like our natural selves, like the dreadlocks, like our nappy hair, like just a lot of different things that are that we autonomously were born with, we were sprung to the earth with. So just pay attention to those things, and here we go.
Basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand. That's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others.
Did y'all hear that? Many Negroes are influenced by the influence of others, just like she was, like they say, what is it, the Joneses, about trying to live like the Joneses, and the boule. Okay, now this will tell you where how that attitude was formulated. You know, where you thinking that you're like, because you buy this, because you have this, that you're better than your own family, and which, you know, you'll all have the same roots. And when you look at it at the end, black people all have in America all have the pretty much the same roots, because believe it or not, there were very few Africans that were brought here. In fact, the first Africans that were brought over here from the transatlantic slave trade were actually Europeans, because what people forget is Europe is a part of the continent of Asia Major and Asia Minor, which it was originally called, now called Africa, like since, you know, like the, I think it was like the 1400s. We'll have to check that through the etymology online dictionary, but that continent has not always been called Africa. And there's only a continent is a continuous land mass, and there's only two that we currently officially know about, and that is Africa, the so-called Africa, and America, which used to be called by our indigenous people Turtle Island. But here we go. And just like they said before that, you know, like pretty much the Negro buys for validation, for approval, you know, like just like that's why we spend $300 on a pair of Nikes, which, you know, at the end of the day, if you look at the quality of the shoe, there are shoes out there that are much less expensive with the same quality. You know, just because something costs a lot doesn't mean that it is quality. It's only subliminal, you know, it's only subliminal that we think that things that cost more has more quality. You know, that's why you see, you know, that's why some people, they'll like look, and just like when you go into like certain stores and stuff, companies make two types of products. A lot of times they make a generic version, and a lot of times like you go into Walmart and you see the equate version. Okay, well, the equate version of is no different from, you know, the name brand version. The only difference is, you know, that Walmart you know, pays them to label that equate product differently, you know, so that if they can mark down. And a lot of times what you're paying for is the packaging, the box, the packaging of that product. So, you know, they can then, you know, sell it for less price when in turn is actually the same product. But here we go.
What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of sale. If you do, he'll probably react something like this.
Doesn't he think I've got the money to pay for it?
There's a reason for this reaction. Again, because he's had experience with cheap merchandise, the Negro resents being offered a substitute. He wants to be sold on quality, not price. The Negro buys by brand, he buys quality, and he doesn't like to be switched at point of sale. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer. Another point. The Negro family does things together, as a group. The family works as a unit. It lives as a unit, and it buys as a unit. When you sell to one member, you many times sell to all. It's also true that many places of entertainment are still closed to the Negro. So he spends more of his money for the things that are available to him, often for items that are considered luxuries.
Often for things, a lot of times, that are considered luxuries. So this is why we have 0.5% wealth. This is why we have been programmed to, you know, like to invest more in entertainment than, you know, think, you know, like land, than your home. That's why you'll find somebody with a expensive car and they pull up in an apartment, or you'll find somebody with a you'll find somebody who live, in the hood. They hood rich, that's what hood rich. In the hood they have like the name brand clothes. I don't wear nothing but polo, polo down. Like this is why we do those things. Instead of, like, for one thing, we need to start investing in our own companies that are not going to be sellout companies to us. And in a minute, we're going to find out one of the first companies that was a sellout company to us. But like, this is why we do a lot of the things that we do that's really going against us. And this is why we have 0.5% wealth. This is why, like, in most cultures, their cultural dollar passes through their community 7 times. In our community, it might pass through one time, but definitely, like, and there's a possibility not even that one time, because, like, when you look at it, you get your money, you pay your bills. Your bills are going to the energy company, the water company, the telephone company. And then a lot of times you're going to stores like Macy's. You're not going to stores within the hood. You're not buying black or buying things from ourselves. We're not buying things from ourselves. And these days, like when I grew up, it was all about, like, a good job. Like, I was programmed to go out there and get yourself a good job. Just like my mom now, they came from a generation where it was like, go outside and go get yourself a good job. However, and their mom. But before then, my great grandfather owned his own business. And, like, we got so programmed that instead of investing in our family businesses and stuff like that, we decided that we want to go out, we want to go get educated. And instead of bringing our education back to our family and back to our family businesses, now we want to go get that good job because, it's instant. That's instant. Oh, they're gonna give me benefits. It's instant. You can live like the Joneses. You can go get that Cadillac. You got that credit. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get that little credit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and we don't invest in our own. We don't come back and invest in our neighborhoods, like these same black neighborhoods that we spoke about: Chicago, Philadelphia, Memphis, New Orleans. They look like slums. You know why they look like slums? Because we left out the community. We want to consistently go try to buy places that they live, because we think that places that they live are better. But, like, especially like with the homes, a lot of the homes that they're building now, I call them monopoly houses. They're throwing them up so quick, and the value of them and the value of those homes are not, like, really what they're selling them for. So we're buying cheap homes at high prices instead of going back home, to your grandmama, to your mama, and redoing your family home. We'll lose that. We'll sell that. And, like, the land is the most valuable thing that you have. Most people from the South, they own land because, like, most Indians, black Indians, were allocated their Indian land. And, the saddest thing, in the land is the most valuable thing, because when you have your own land, you're free. All right. You can go put up a tent, whatever you want to, but you have a place to stay. You can grow things. Land is a resource. It's money. There's resources on land. Trees, from the dirt. All of that stuff people pay for. Rocks, all of that stuff people pay for. Okay, so we're missing out on economic opportunities and stuff. Because we've been programmed to go do instant things instead of looking at residual and looking at our future. Like, we've submitted to being minors, to go into work for their companies instead of building our own. That's why our wealth is so small. Instead of investing in our own corporations, and now even supporting each other. We're so critical about the fact that we might have to pay a little more to support a black business, because they have to pay a little more because they're not getting wholesale rates. They're not getting, their taxes are higher and stuff like that. We're so critical about, like, buying from our black owned businesses and buying black. We're so critical on each other. We're so critical, because we've been taught to be critical on each other, like, down to talking about our hair. like down to the colorism where dark skinned people are always considered ugly. Where, if you're not Europeanized in everything that you do, then you're not of standard. So to the point, and that's really how we've been taught self-hatred. And that is a part of our problem. We have to go back to that cultural form and that tribal form of thinking where we work together as a group or a team. This is why we no longer have family reunions every summer. This is why we no longer have those family Sunday dinners. This is why, like most people don't know their first or second cousins anymore because of how like we've been programmed. So a lot of things play a part in a lot of things. And so pay attention to the psychology of the Negro. Here we go.
Another trait of the Negro market is the fact that it is a pre-sold market. We know that the Negro buys by brand, and he buys the brands that he knows something about. Where does the Negro buyer get this information? We know that Negro customers are turning more and more to the publications that are targeted specifically to their needs, that give them the news and the information that they want to read about. Many leading businessmen and companies already know this. That's why so many of them are taking this direct, sure route of reaching the Negro customer. The vice president of advertising of the Drew & Watch Company, for example, says this.
In many important cities throughout the United States, Negroes are important customers of the credit Cupid. Therefore, it seemed that Ebony magazine would be a very important advertising medium for us. We would say it was very well received, and from our viewpoint, a very successful campaign.
From the Remington Rand Company comes this statement.
Our records show that advertising in Ebony has been effective in many ways. As all good advertising should, it has built a terrific amount of goodwill and has brought a volume of sales and sales inquiries.
A representative of the Alaga Syrup Company makes this statement.
Because of Alaga's regard for the influence of Ebony in the Negro market, advertising space was doubled. Alaga's long experience in selling to Negroes now takes the most direct route to its best customers, reaching Ebony's 2.5 million audience in every issue.
And here are the statements of still other business leaders.
Yes, many business leaders are discovering the most direct and most efficient way of reaching the new Negro market. Look here at the results of the same advertisement in two different publications, Ebony and another general magazine. You can see that proportionately, more men and women read the ad in Ebony than the one in the other magazine. And they did a better job of remembering it, too. A greater percentage of readers noted, associated, and remembered the ad in Ebony. But now, wait a minute. If the Negro market is so big and easy to reach, why aren't more companies going out after it? Well, often because of the feeling that there's something entirely different, unusual about selling to the Negro.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. So as you can see, back during the 1950s, the sellout magazine publication company was Ebony Johnson, the Johnson Publishing Company, which, like had Ebony and Jet, and which is still a publication running today. And so if for those of you who have looked at Ebony and Jet magazine, this explains why there is more ads than articles. Have y'all ever noticed that there was more ads than articles in Ebony and Jet magazine? And in most, black publications and things like that, there are certain types of things like that are marketed to us. Just like, for instance, like I said, you go to your Google page, Google tracks your history. So they're like figuring out how your mind works, what you're interested in. They're psychologically analyzing you. So they know what you want. Like they said, they study us. They know what we want. They know what we'll buy. They know everything about us because they study us, through like the internet. And there's more than one reason why they want every home to have an internet, and television. Just like, television, like they know that like, oh, love and hip hop. all of these things. They know we're they know there are certain ads and stuff or that are run on those programs. And they are also suggesting a certain type of behavior to us by even coming out and making those type of programs. So a lot of our behavior, a lot of the things that we do are because we have been programmed. Our subconscious mind has been programmed as to what's acceptable, because what emotional reason is because we need validation. We need to feel important. And instead of looking, finding those things from within, we're looking for these things on the outskirts. And that's why, like, we're never happy. That's why we're not successful. That explains just the whole. That's why we're always fighting. That's why we're always arguing and things of that nature, because we've gotten away from our natural selves and we're more like programmed robots. But like as they said, when they realized that they were getting all this money, by running ads and stuff in the Johnson Publishing Company, back then some people still had their resistance. They didn't want to really deal with the Negro. Whereas, a lot of companies, they was realized, well, what you got to sell? Some gum? What you got to sell? Some dirt? What you got to sell? If you want to sell something, all you got to do is put it in the Johnson Publishing Companies, because Negroes are the number one consumer. So if you want to be rich, you got to sell to the Negro. There you go. But here we go. We're almost done, family.
But is it really so different? What do salesmen say? The successful salesmen who do a good job of selling in Negro communities. How do you go about getting the order?
How do I get the order? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't do anything. Anything different, that is. I've been calling on these accounts long enough to know that the Negro just wants to be treated like everybody else. No matter who you're calling on, a little friendliness and courtesy help a lot. And naturally, anybody resents being patronized or talked down to. So I usually call a man Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, or Mr. whatever his name is, until he tells me to call him by his first name. And of course, I always stick to business. I stay away from talk about race or religion or politics. That goes for talk about Negro celebrities, too. This business about what good prize fighters and singers the Negroes are. Who cares? When a guy's in business, no matter what color his skin is, he's interested in making a living, in making money. That's uppermost in his mind. I guess maybe what I'm saying is that I try to help any way I can. Sometimes with displays or ad materials, or an idea once in a while. The important thing is that if it helps push sales for the dealer, it helps push them for me, too.
Handle the Negro account just like any of your others. Don't patronize. Stick to business. Get interested in the account. Pitch in and help any way you can. Sounds like pretty good sales advice. That's the secret of selling the Negro. Well,
all right, family. All right. So, as you can see, we have been sold. Yeah, and that was the secret to selling the Negro. And y'all, like, do me a favor. Because,
wake that ass up.
Sorry about that.
In the morning with the Breakfast Club.
Oopsie. But do me a favor. Hey, Monica G. Davis in the building. Spook TV in the building. Y'all subscribe to Spook TV. Y'all subscribe to Oh No. They're great content creators. They cover a variety of different information and topics, news and information that we can use, as well as entertainment. And Monica G. Davis, I don't know if she's a content creator or not. I know that, she's fam here. But y'all subscribe to her as well. The subscription won't hurt. One day she might decide to, do some content if she's not already. And I'm going to make sure I check you out too. Monica, I'm looking for you in the future. But that brings me to what I'm trying to say. Like in my comment section, what I would like, because I would like to carry this conversation on. I would like to elaborate, because it's very important that, this gets out. It's very important that we understand what has happened to us. It's what has happened to us. And like a lot of times going back to a lot of these old movies and stuff like that, it gives us a great understanding of how we are molded today, what has happened, how they programmed us, how they brainwashed us, how they and it's always through television and media. That is tell live vision. That is why, like some religions, like I think the Pentecostals or whatever, they don't allow their members to and but they're a cult, but and no pun intended, because they don't want any outside influences coming into their members. All right. But that is why they don't allow, their people to watch, television. And this is also why they took over our music industry, because Zydeco, rap, country, R&B, neo soul, those are all our mediums. And notice we don't own our own uh, uh, music and music production companies anymore, record labels anymore. We don't own, like, just like basketball is a Mayan was a Mayan war sport. Basketball belongs to America. Basketball was ours. And we don't even own the right to the sports. We don't even own the rights to the things that we can do. And just like, for an example, y'all remember the history, the Negro league, the Negro baseball league. This is why they quickly went in and adapted people like Babe Ruth and Jackie Robinson and stuff, the best players or whatever, and converted them over by giving them cars. Cadillac Record, they quickly gave Muddy Waters cars, and he thought he was sitting there getting rich, and he found out that those things were just for loan. This, to take over our music industry, when we should have just stuck with our own. Because if we had stuck with our own, we would be rich right now. They're rich off of our talents. They're rich off of our stuff, because we want things quick. We're our they got us gleaming, looking at, some cubic zirconia. They got us focusing on that cubic zirconia, that the fact that we want them Jordans and all of this quick temporary stuff, instead of building our own solid foundations. So there's a lot to think about. And so in the comment section, as well, if any of y'all want to build on these topics, like from different variety of perspectives, like I want people to, come up with, suggested things to speak on, spinning from this, the psychology, the psychology of how us Negroes were made, the psychology of our Negro human behavior, and media programming, and all of these things. Because once we get to the root of issue, once we understand that the issue occurs and how it happens, then we can begin to deprogram ourselves, and then we can begin to become the kind of people that we used to be, that our ancestors were, the Mayans, over the tobacco, over the cotton, vanilla, chocolate, coca. We owned all of that. We own all of that. And like one day, I think I'm gonna try to come back on, and I'm just gonna do like a lot of the tobacco museum, which is in Virginia, I believe, Virginia, where they have and they sell priceless original original little statues and different things of us Black Indians, with our feathers, with our grass skirts and stuff like that, with us smoking cigars. If you go back to the original maps of America, we're on there with our grass skirts, with our Indian feathers. And you know what's ironic too? They sold us African American. They sold us that we were African. A lot of people, we don't even know where we're from anymore. We stopped listening to our grandma, because y'all grandma said y'all was Indian. She didn't say you had no Indian in you. Because when Indian in you, because they showed us those pictures when we were in school, telling us our history, showing us pictures of those Mongoloid Native Americans, we thought that we were mixed with them, when in actuality we are the original Paleo Indians, the real original Paleo Indians. So that's what I'm saying. We got to stop believing everything that we're told. We have to stop just spontaneously going along with the program. We are just getting along. We're going along and getting along, and we're losing. because we don't research, we don't critically think. A lot of people manually research your family tree. Know your grandparents' name is no more of an honor. Don't be honoring somebody else's ancestors. Honor your own blood DNA ancestors first. Know your grandparents' names. In order to know where you're going, you must first understand where you came from, so we could get back to our natural minds. But family, in the comment section, y'all leave suggestions. Y'all tell me what you think and all of that kind of stuff, because I want to elaborate. I want to tell me, like, if there's any points you want me to make or any points that I missed. Tell me what you think about the commentary, because like I said, this channel is for the purpose of us, getting information to help us to better ourselves. That's why, I mean, yeah, we all indulge in a little drama and stuff every now and then, but drama is not my primary focus. My primary focus is on my bettering myself, improving myself, growth and expansion of myself and my people first. You got to love yourself first before you can love anybody else. So, all love, family, peace, love, and light, which is wisdom. And until next time, like I said, get in that suggestion box. Feel free to email me. If y'all want to have a discussion on this, as well as I would love to have a discussion on who killed Malcolm X. For anybody who might be bold enough to discuss that, I would love to have a discussion on that, or anything that's currently going on that like would help us to grow, would show us different perspectives, that would help us to learn. Yes, I want to cover more about the subconscious mind as well. Oh no. And see, oh no. Also, like, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to figure out a way to, like, start from the bottom and merge us up for all different levels of understanding. So, like, if you have some suggestions, on ways that you think that might work, I'm all open, family. But yes, I want to cover more about the subconscious mind and how to deprogram your conscious mind. But let me also say this. One of the clear things that we don't do, one of the clear ways to deprogram your subconscious mind, is to pay attention to yourself, know your body. Pay attention to your thoughts. Sometimes slow down your thoughts. Meditation is good because it slows down your organs. It slows down your mind. And it teaches you how to be aware of your positive and your negative thoughts. A lot of the thoughts that comes from your subconscious mind are negative thoughts. Like they say, the devil in your ear. That's programming from your subconscious mind. And that's a lot of what hinders us from becoming all that we can become, or doing things that we know that we can do, or not feeling our self-worth, or not feeling our self-esteem. It's from the trauma and the different experiences and stuff that we've had that's in our subconscious that keeps saying, you can't do this. That's why I said we can't continue to tell our youth and our children that they're slaves or products of slaves. We got to tell them that they're products of greatness, which they are. We can't, you keep telling somebody they're bad over and over again. You keep telling somebody, oh, well, this or that. Now, if their mind is not strong enough, and if they're not aware of other human behavior or low vibrational human behavior, then it's going to affect them, and they're going to begin to believe those things. If you say something over and over again to yourself in the mirror, you're going to begin to believe that. That's called law. That's a part of the law of attraction. We manifest what we think. Your mind is a very powerful tool. Your thoughts create your reality. And if we only understood and knew that, then we would not be in the position that we are in. So, yeah, I'm going to try to cover some more topics on the subconscious mind, how to deprogram the subconscious mind. And, because that's one thing that we're not taught in school. We're not taught about this is like one of the most important things it is, your subconscious mind, your mind. Your mind is the most important organ that you have. Your mind regulates your body. We go to the doctor for checkups every 6 months. How come they don't make you go to the doctor for checkups for your mind? We're doing all types of things we eat for our body, but we don't eat for our mind. We feed our body, but we're not feeding. And what are we feeding our minds? What goes in must come out. But the way that it's coming out is not good. So we have to look at what we're doing to ourselves. Like in order to be positive, you have to be you have to be around positive people, places, and things. You have to think positive to manifest or to draw or to attract positive. Law of attraction. So when you think about how important your thoughts are, when you think about how important your thinking is, your brain is, and the fact that a lot of the reasons why we're not in control is because we're not in control of our minds. Because we are programmed, we're operating off of, because our minds are computers. Our computers were invented from our minds. The designs of the computer was invented from the way that our mind works. So we really need to understand more about our mind, more about our thinking, more about why we behave the way that we do, more about, like the psychology of us as, people in order to improve. So like if y'all have, suggestions towards that, like comment sections, if y'all want to build on certain topics, that's what I'm here for. I'm even here for debates. Because debates help people learn, because you hear 2 or 3 different types of perspectives, and a lot of times it's left to the discretion of the people that are hearing. I'm here, like so that we can have open minds, so that we could like think, so that we could grow, so we can get this information that we don't have time to all research and read, so we can share. Robert Greene. I'm gonna have to check out Robert Greene. I'm not too familiar. Familiar. Thank you. Oh no, I love you too. I love your commentary. I resonated from the beginning, because like, just for instance, oh no, one of the reasons why I'm deciding, I still haven't gotten there. I got to do a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons I can't be on here all the time, because I'm, still planning to move to that area, and it's because of you, because you showed a jacket or something. I think it was a blue jean jacket that you had created, and you said that at that time you said that DC was a very artsy place. New Orleans is a very artsy place as well, but I want somewhere different. So that's one of the biggest reasons why, like, I was looking into the DC, Virginia, DMV area, because of you. And I say it all the time on video. So shout out to you, sis, and thank for that. But like I said, y'all just comment, like y'all know what the purpose of this is about. If y'all want to collab, or everything is saying about selfishness. I'm about to monetize, but I'm not even monetized yet. This is really, I don't care about no likes and subscribers and views. I do want people to get it. But it's like, what's more important is getting the information out there, so that we can grow, putting it out into the atmosphere, the law of attraction. So love, peace, hair grease, happiness, and all that to my family. And there's my email, and also hit up. And I love our girl too, the pressure cooker. She need to come on back out here. You know what I'm saying? She knows the psychology of human behavior. You get what I'm saying? So, she should be well aware of what's going on. And like, I know sometimes we got to rest. Sometimes we got to detox and all of that kind of stuff. But, do that and keep on kicking, because like, we need good content and good information. We way too behind, to not have people out here doing that type of content. But like I said, love, peace, and hair grease. Love everybody. And until next time, QI critical thinking, and I will see you then. Peace.